Right. I think a lot of the revivals that I've personally been involved in, which we haven't talked about yet, have all come from a prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling to the Catherine Kuhlman service, and I was sitting on a plane from San Diego up to Oakland, California,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting next to a Catholic priest. And
Okay.
at that day, I wouldn't have anything to do with Catholics or anything like that. It was just, I was a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And the Catholic priest was trying to engage me in conversation. And because I stammered and he was a Catholic, I was very against talking to him. So I pulled out a book and I started to read it. And eventually our sort of food tray came along, and I had to put the book down. So I'm eating the food, and he jabs me in the ribs and says, "Tell me, what do you do?" And he put me on the spot. And I said, "Well, I am doing the same as you, but in a different part of the church."
Yeah.
And he said, "I thought you were. I have a word for you from God." And I thought, that's impossible. God doesn't speak to Catholics. That was my view in those days. And he said, "You will go to Montreal. And God wants you to go to Montreal. And after you've been to Montreal, you will come to Spain. And here's my card. And please look me up when you come to Spain." And then he got off the plane. I threw his card away because I thought, well, the guy is crazy. I didn't believe God could speak to a Catholic, and certainly not a Catholic priest. And so 6 weeks later, I have an English Anglican curate friend of mine who gets transferred to Montreal.
Okay.
And he doesn't know about this prophecy at all, but he airmailed a letter to me and said, "Look, I'm all alone in Montreal. I've got hungry people here. Would you come out and help us?" And so I fly out to Montreal, not on the basis of the prophecy, but purely on the basis that my friend had asked me if I'd go and help him, because he was going to be seconded there for about 6 weeks or so. And I went out there, and there was nothing to do, really. And a Catholic monk called me on the telephone. How he got my name, I really don't know. But he said, "I'm really desperate. I've got a conference at the weekend, and I do not have an English speaker. I've tried all the famous charismatic Catholics, and they can't come. Can you come?" So I went, and I took my wife to a monastery, which was kind of a scary thing for a Protestant. And in the first afternoon service, I'm due to speak, and I was very nervous because I'm among Catholics. I don't really know what they believe. I obviously didn't want to offend the priest, but I wasn't going to compromise on the message. And it was going all right. And then God gave me an open vision. It was the first time I'd ever experienced this, but the whole congregation vanished in front of me. And I'm standing in front of quite an elderly lady who's in bed, and she's got grey hair. She's got her hair in a bun, and she's got Parkinson's disease. She's shaking like a leaf. And the Lord said to me, I'm healing her now. And I gave it out. And one of the congregation, who had been sent in as a spy from his brother, who was the monk, ran out, got on the telephone and called the priest's mother and said, "Has anything strange happened to you in the last few minutes?" And she said, yes, fire went through my entire body
Oh,
and I stopped shaking.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
that was the start of the outpouring that probably affected 80,000 Catholics
wow.
in Quebec province. They got saved, filled with the Spirit, healed. And
Wow.
4 years later, they filled the Olympic Stadium in Montreal with the
Mm,
praises of God.
wow.
That monk, that monk became so unpopular with the hierarchy that he was extradited to France.
Mhm.
And when the revival in France hit, I was involved in that a little bit. And the head of the Jesuit part of the church in France said, I'm the first charismatic in the land. So I said,
Mm.
oh, really? How did that happen? He said, well, there was a monk that came from Montreal and he got sent overseas to France and he prayed for me. And it was the same scarlet thread that runs through so much of our lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.